I'm here in my kitchen, which you don't really see on this channel, I know, but here it is, here's my kitchen. I'm here today with a different video. I thought I would do a bit of a craft project today. And I like to decorate my house seasonally where I can, and I had this really cool idea, well it was cool in my head anyway, of a craft project to make a bowl to go on my coffee table that I could perhaps put sweets or flowers or anything kind of there just to make it look decorative. So I thought I would give it a go. Who knows how it's going to turn out, but you know, if you don't try it, you don't know, do you? So let's get started. So the things that I'm going to be using today, I'm going to be using a rolling pin. I'm going to be using a bowl that I have in my cupboard that I like the shape of. I'm going to be using some air drying clay, and I'm also going to be using a rubber stamp. So let's get cracking. Okay, so my clay is actually quite hard because it's old, I've had it for quite some time, and I just wanted to use things you know, that I'd already got. I didn't want to go out and buy new things. So of course you could use like Fimo, which you bake in the oven, but yeah, I decided to go with the clay, and it's really rock hard. So it took one hell of a beating and rolling out. I mean, it was still like usable in terms of clay, but it just took a lot of work because it perhaps wasn't as fresh as it was. So if you've got some lying around, make sure that you you know, you keep it really airtight, because obviously it's air drying clay, it dries in the air. The clue is in the title. So yeah, I just kind of spent quite a lot of time wrestling with the blooming stuff to get its thing, and then I stopped recording and I cut a massive chunk out, basically, because I was wrestling with the blooming clay. So what you missed is me just rolling it out into a rectangle. Then I just draped it over the bottom of the bowl, and I used the knife that you can see there just to cut the clay that I didn't want. And I wanted to make it into a kind of like a wibbly wobbly shape, so it wasn't perfect. So I did that, and then I just kind of smoothed the edges a bit with my fingers just to make it a little bit, you know, smoother. And then, as you can see now, I took the stamp, which actually fell apart in my hands. It's quite old. So I just took the stamp and I just really pressed it into the clay. I didn't mind that it split, actually, because I managed to get that kind of nice sort of single detail around the bottom there. So yeah, I just kind of went round, pressed it in nicely, tried to smooth any little cracks and marks and stuff like that as I went. And there was quite a few, to be honest, because as I said, the clay was not at its best, so it didn't work perhaps as well as I might have liked it to. So I'm just gently easing it off of the bowl there, because I want to stamp the inside. So just do that kind of nice and carefully. And so I'm stamping on the inside, but I'm kind of trying to be wary of where I've already stamped on the outside, because I don't want to muck up the stamping and the imprints that I've already done, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm just trying to smooth and just kind of be a bit careful with it and smooth out any of the little cracks and stuff. But I wanted it to be really rustic. I'm really inspired by some of the rustic pinch pots that you see. And I just put it back on top of the bowl again for drying purposes, because I wanted it to kind of keep its shape whilst it dried. I mean, during the process of drying, I did take it off and turn it round the other way as well. But mine I left to dry for 2 days without touching it. Just left it on my windowsill. There you go. I'm just sort of trying to smooth out some more of the cracks and stuff again. So that's the stamp I used, and I have no idea what make of stamp it is, because that's old too. So I was just making sure that it was loose away from the edge of the bowl, because I don't want it to dry right to the bowl. And then just resist temptation to touch. So I let my bowl dry, and it's rock solid. I let it dry for a good 2 days, just to make sure, because I want to paint it, and I wanted to make sure that there wasn't any moisture, that it was properly thoroughly dry. So it's all nice and dry. It is very rustic looking, and to be quite frank, I quite like it as it is. I quite like that kind of rusticiness, but Mr. B kind of looked at it and was a bit like, okay, I'll see we go. But as it's dried, it has cracked in a few places. So, I mean, my clay wasn't the freshest of clay. I have had it for like a year. So it may not have been wrapped up properly the last time I used it. But, you know, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. You've got to try these things, haven't you? And, you know, it could have been fantastic. But I'm going to paint it now with some gesso and give that a good coat. And yeah, here we go. So I've given it a really good coat of gesso on the inside, and I'm going to leave that to dry. I'm going to flip it over and do the other side, and then I'll probably leave it for a day again, maybe to give it another good dry. I'm not sure. It's quite late in the afternoon, so I'm not sure that I'd get anything done anyway. So I think if I leave it to dry, then that'd probably be a good option. So yeah, I'll do the other side, leave it to dry, and then I'll come back when that's done. So something you want to just watch out when you're painting it is if you've used the rubber stamp. If you just go over it lightly like that, you will get the texture, so you'll be left with the terracotta. On this base gesso, I want to get the gesso into the cracks, so kind of really working it in. However, when I come to actually do the finished, the finished coat of colour, I want to get that effect of just rubbing over. So just bear that in mind if you choose to do this, that at this stage you want to just make sure you get into the cracks and crevices. Watch out also, particularly if you're using cheaper gesso like I am, that you may get some brush stroke lines. So unless that's the rustic kind of look that you're going for, just bear that in mind, that you might want to smooth some of those out, or just be conscious of the direction in which you're painting, because if you are going to end up with lines like they see, I dabbed to try and get some of the paint, some of the gesso into the grooves, but then I just smoothed it back out again because I didn't want that dappling effect to come through. So yeah, I'm making the mistakes so you don't have to. I'm learning so that you don't have to as you go. It's very therapeutic, just gessoing. You're lucky I'm not singing, because you know what I'm like. I very often sing when I do this sort of stuff, so I have spared you the singing today. Any road, I shall see you again once this little baby is dried. Okay, so now that our bowl is nice and dry, we can start to paint it. I'm just painting mine with Crafters acrylic. It's by the Decor art, but you can buy like similar types of acrylic, Crafters acrylic all the time. This one's daffodil yellow, but you could also use like well, you can use any sort of acrylic really. You don't have to just use Crafters acrylic. So I'm just gonna paint my bowl, and I don't want to get too much in the crevices because I want some of the white to show, but I'm not too bothered if it does happen like that. I can always just rub a bit of white into it. We'll see how it goes, because I think it just wants to naturally go in there quite a bit. So yeah, gonna get it painting.
Okay, so I'll just finish off painting this in the daffodil yellow, and what I wanted to say is you probably would want to seal it. I mean, obviously this isn't for you know, proper culinary use, but either with varnish or like PVA glue. I just used some matte medium just to kind of seal it and, you know, give it a little bit of protection, but I'm happy with the way it turned out. Yeah, and I thought you might like to see the bowl in situ on my coffee table filled with yummy sweeties. So this is how it looks. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you enjoyed my little project share, and if you do something similar, just let me know, because I'd love to come and have a look. Happy Easter or happy spring. Oh, and if you want to see more of my spring decor, I shall do a tour on my other channel soon. Link is in the description below, guys. Bye!